Day One wiped the sweat from his forehead as he guided his small salvage ship through the asteroid field. The space around him was filled with debris from an ancient war, pieces of destroyed ships floating in the darkness like ghosts. He had been doing this job for 5 years now, searching through the wreckage for anything valuable he could sell. It was not glamorous work, but it paid the bills. His scanner beeped suddenly, showing something unusual ahead. Day One leaned forward, squinting at the screen. There was a ship there, but it was different from anything he had seen before. It was not broken or torn apart like the other wrecks. Instead, it looked almost perfect, just floating quietly in space. That's weird, Day One muttered to himself. He moved his ship closer, turning on the external lights to get a better look. What he saw made him catch his breath. The ship was beautiful. It was not made of metal plates like human ships or the Velkari Empire's warships. Instead, it had what looked like scales covering its surface, shimmering with colors that shifted in the light. The wings were curved and elegant, almost like they belonged to a living creature. Day One had never seen anything like it in all his years of salvage work. "Computer, scan that ship," he said. The computer's voice responded. "Unknown design. Not in any database. Energy signature detected. Age estimated at approximately 4,000 years. 4,000 years." Day One whistled softly. That was ancient, even by galactic standards. Most of the elder alien races had only been traveling in space for 2,000 or 3,000 years. Humans had only been out here for 200 years, and the other species still treated them like children who did not know anything. Day One knew he should probably report this find to the authorities. But he also knew what would happen if he did. The Velkari Empire would take the ship, study it, and he would get a small finder's fee, maybe enough to pay for a month of supplies. That was it. He made a decision. He was going to tow this ship back to his workshop and figure out what it was himself. It took him 3 hours to attach the towing cables and pull the strange ship back to his small station. The station was not much, just a converted cargo container with a workshop, a small living area, and enough air to breathe. But it was home, and it was private. Once he had the ship secured in his workshop bay, Day One spent the next few days just studying it. He took pictures, ran scans, and carefully examined every inch of the hull. The scales were not just decorative. They were part of some kind of armor system that was far more advanced than anything humans could make. The energy signature was coming from somewhere deep inside the ship, a steady pulse like a heartbeat. On the 4th day, Day One decided to try opening the ship. He found what looked like a panel near the rear and carefully pried it open. Inside was technology that made his head hurt to look at. Organic components were mixed with mechanical parts in ways that should not have worked but clearly did. He recognized some basic power systems, but everything else was a mystery. He spent hours tracing connections and trying to understand the ship's systems. His hands were dirty with grease, and his back ached from bending over. But he could not stop. This was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to him. Then he touched the wrong thing. A connection sparked under his fingers, and suddenly, the entire ship came alive. Lights glowed along the walls, in patterns that looked like veins. The heartbeat pulse grew stronger and faster. Day One jumped back, startled, as the workshop filled with a golden light. Something was happening in the center of the ship. A panel he had not even noticed before slid open, and mist poured out, cold and glittering. Day One grabbed a wrench, his heart pounding. He had no idea what was coming out of that ship, but he was going to be ready. A figure stepped out of the mist. It was a young woman, or at least something that looked like a young woman. She was small and slim, wearing strange armor that looked like it was made from the same scales as the ship, but it was her features that made Day One stare. She had scales running down her arms and neck that shimmered like jewels. Small horns curved back from her forehead, a long tail swished behind her, and her eyes, when they opened, were not human at all. They had vertical slits like a reptile, glowing with an inner fire. She looked around the workshop with confusion, then her eyes locked onto Day One. She opened her mouth and spoke, but the words made no sense. It was a language he had never heard before, all sharp sounds and rolling tones. Day One held up his hands. "I don't understand," he said carefully. "Do you speak Common? Or Velkari? Human?" The woman tilted her head, frowning. Then she reached up and touched a spot behind her ear. A small light blinked on, and when she spoke again, the words came through a translator. "Who are you?" she demanded. Her voice was sharp and commanding. "What have you done with my ship? And why do you look so soft?" "Soft?" Day One blinked. "I'm human. My name is Day One. I found your ship floating in the asteroid belt. It looked abandoned, so I brought it here to study it. I didn't know anyone was inside." The woman stepped fully out of the ship now, looking around at the workshop. She moved like a fighter, balanced and ready for anything. "Abandoned? How long was I in stasis?" "The computer said the ship is about 4,000 years old," Daewon said. The woman's eyes went wide. She actually staggered, grabbing the edge of the ship for support. 4,000 years, she whispered. "That means the war. Everyone." She looked back at Daewon, and he saw something break in her expression. Pain and loss so deep it made his chest ache just seeing it. "I am Hana," she said quietly. "I was a warrior of the Draken people. We fought against the Void Swarm, an enemy that consumed entire worlds. The last thing I remember is going into emergency stasis after a battle. My people were losing. I was supposed to wake up when reinforcements arrived." She looked down at her hands. "But 4,000 years means no reinforcements came. It means we lost. It means my people are gone." Daewon did not know what to say. He had found artifacts from extinct species before, but he had never met one of them. Never seen the moment they realized their entire civilization was dust. "I'm sorry," he said, and he meant it. Hana looked up at him, studying his face. "You are human? I do not know this species. The soft skins were barely leaving their home planet when I went into stasis. How did you wake my ship? How did you wake my ship?" "I was trying to repair it," Daewon said. "I'm a salvage engineer. I fix things." Hana walked over to him, moving so fast he barely had time to react. She grabbed his hand and turned it over, looking at his fingers. Then she walked around him in a circle, examining him like he was a piece of equipment. "You connected the power systems incorrectly," she said. "But somehow, you made it work anyway. Crude, but effective." She stopped in front of him. "The ship's systems have bonded to you. You completed the repair sequence, and now it thinks you are my co-pilot." "Co-pilot?" Daewon said. "I don't know how to fly alien fighters." "That is obvious," Hana said. She crossed her arms. "This is a problem. The bond between a Draken warrior and their ship is sacred. It is not meant to be shared with outsiders, especially not with someone who knows nothing about combat." "Look, I didn't mean to cause any trouble," Daewon said. "If you want, I can try to undo whatever I did." Hana shook her head. "No. The bond is formed. Breaking it now would damage the ship, possibly permanently. We are stuck with each other." She sighed. "I suppose I should be grateful. Without you, I would still be asleep, floating in space forever." "What is the galaxy like now? Who rules? What happened to the Void Swarm?" "Ah." Before Daewon could answer, his communication system beeped. A distress signal was coming through, automated and desperate. A mining colony 20 light-years away was under attack. Pirates were threatening to kill everyone if they did not surrender. Hana's expression changed instantly. The sadness vanished, replaced by something fierce and focused. "A colony is in danger?" "Yeah, but it's not our problem," Daewon said. "The authorities will handle it." "No," Hana said firmly. "A Draken warrior never ignores a call for help." We? Day-One looked at the ship, then back at her. I don't even know how to fly that thing. Hana grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the ship. Then you will learn quickly. Get in, soft skin. We have people to save. Day-One wanted to argue, but something in Hana's eyes stopped him. This was what she was, a warrior who protected others. And somehow, in the last few minutes, he had become her partner. He climbed into the ship, and his life changed forever. The inside of the ship was like nothing Day-One had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, glowing softly, with patterns that shifted and moved. There were 2 seats in the cockpit, both made from the same scale-like material as the exterior. Hana practically threw him into one seat, while she took the other. Put your hands on the controls, she ordered. Day-One looked down and saw what she meant. There were no buttons or switches like in human ships. Instead, there were smooth panels that felt warm under his palms. The moment he touched them, information flooded into his mind. Flight paths, weapon systems, shield status, everything all at once. It was too much. His head spun. Focus, Hana snapped. The ship is reading your thoughts. Just think about what you want it to do. That's impossible, Day-One gasped. Clearly not, since you are doing it right now, Hana said. Her hands moved over her own controls with practiced ease. I will handle the weapons and tactics. You focus on keeping us in the air and not crashing. Think you can manage that? Soft skin? Stop calling me that, Day-One said. My name is Day-One. Fine. Day-One then. Now launch us before those colonists die while we argue. Day-One thought about moving forward, and the ship responded instantly. They shot out of the workshop bay so fast that his stomach lurched. Stars blurred around them as the ship accelerated to speeds that should have crushed them both. But somehow, the internal systems kept them safe. Good, Hana said. You have decent reflexes. Now, the colony is 20 light-years away. Engage the jump drive. How do I do that? Hana growled in frustration. Just think about where you want to go. The ship will do the rest. Day-One focused on the coordinates from the distress signal. Space twisted around them, colors stretching and bending in ways that hurt to look at. Then they were somewhere else entirely, arriving in a different star system, as if they had just stepped through a door. That was incredible, Day-One whispered. That was basic, Hana corrected. Now look at the tactical display. See those ships surrounding the colony? Day-One saw them. 37 pirate vessels, ranging from small fighters to medium-sized cruisers. They surrounded a small mining station, like wolves circling prey. The station's shields were failing, and there were already hull breaches in several sections. There are too many of them, Day-One said. Numbers mean nothing, Hana replied. Her eyes gleamed with something that might have been excitement. Watch and learn what a Draken fighter can do. She took control of the weapons, and the ship came alive with deadly purpose. They dove toward the pirate fleet, moving so fast that the enemy ships barely had time to register their presence before Hana opened fire. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the fighters' weapons. The first pirate ship exploded before it even knew it was under attack. The second ship tried to turn and fire back. But Hana was already somewhere else, appearing behind it and disabling its engines with surgical precision. I thought we were trying to help people, not kill them, Day-One said, watching another pirate ship drift away, powerless. I am helping them, Hana said. I am showing them the error of attacking innocent people. Death would be easier. This way, they will have time to think about their choices while they wait for rescue. The pirates finally organized a response. A dozen ships turned toward them, weapons glowing hot as they prepared to fire. Hana just laughed. Shields, she commanded, and Day-One felt the ship respond. A barrier of energy surrounded them, so powerful that when the pirate weapons hit it, the blasts just scattered harmlessly. Now show me what you can do, Hana said. Fly us through them, make them dizzy. Day-One did not think he could do it. but his hands moved on the controls anyway. The ship twisted and spun through the pirate formation, moving in patterns that should have been impossible. He found himself anticipating their shots, dodging, before they even fired. It was like the ship was helping him, showing him where to go. Hana kept up her assault, her weapons finding target after target. She disabled engines, weapons systems, and life support with perfect accuracy. Not a single pirate was killed. But within 10 minutes, more than half the fleet was drifting helplessly. The pirate leader finally came on the communication channel. "What are you?" his voice demanded. "What kind of ship is that?" "What? Cross?" Hana smiled, and there was nothing friendly in that expression. "I am Hana, last warrior of the Draken, and this is my partner, Day One of the humans. You attacked innocent people. You threatened to kill families. For that, you will leave this system and never return. If you do return, I will not be so merciful next time." "The humans?" The pirate leader laughed. "You fight alongside those weaklings? The galaxy's bottom feeders?" Day One felt anger surge through him. He was tired of hearing that. Tired of every alien species treating humans like they were worthless. "This weakling just flew circles around your entire fleet," Day One said coldly. "This bottom feeder is the reason you're still alive. Now run before I let my partner show you what Draken warriors do when they stop being merciful." There was silence on the channel. Then, one by one, the remaining pirate ships began to jump away, fleeing the system as fast as their damaged vessels could manage. The mining colony erupted in cheers over the communication channels. Families were crying with relief. Children were screaming with joy. The station administrator came on the line, his voice shaking. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you so much. We thought we were going to die. Who are you? How can we repay you?" "No payment needed," Day One said. "Just make sure everyone is safe and repair your defenses. The galaxy is a dangerous place." As they flew away from the colony, heading back toward Day One's workshop, Hana looked at him with something that might have been respect. "You did well," she said. "For someone who had never flown a combat ship before, you showed skill and courage." "I was terrified the entire time," Day One admitted. "Good. Fear keeps you alert. It keeps you alive." Hana leaned back in her seat. "You also showed mercy. Redder, you could have destroyed those pirates easily, but you chose to disable them instead. That is not the Draken way. We believed in overwhelming force, in making our enemies fear us so much they would never attack again." "And how did that work out?" Day One asked. Then immediately regretted it. "Sorry, I didn't mean—" "No, you are right to ask," Hana interrupted. "My people were the greatest warriors in the galaxy, but we still lost. We were destroyed by an enemy that did not care about honor or courage. Perhaps there is wisdom in your softer approach." She paused. "Though I will never stop calling you Softskin. I thought you agreed to use my name." "I did, but Softskin is more fun." Despite everything, Day One found himself smiling. This strange dragon girl who had been asleep for 4,000 years was already changing his life. An hour ago, he had been a nobody salvage worker. Now he had fought pirates and saved a colony. When they arrived back at the workshop, Day One expected to just return to normal life. But there were already messages waiting for him. Dozens of them. News of the battle had spread across the sector's networks. Everyone wanted to know who had piloted that incredible ship. Who was the mysterious Draken warrior? Who was the human who fought beside her? One message was from an old friend, Jiwoo, who worked as a data broker. Day One opened it and read the text. "You idiot," the message said. "Do you know what you've done? That fight was broadcast on 17 different networks. Half the sector saw it. The Velkari Empire is asking questions. Mercenary groups are looking for you. And there are rumors that some of the elder species are very interested in your ship. You need to be careful. Hana read the message over his shoulder. Let them come. I am not afraid. Maybe you should be, Day One said. You just woke up. You don't know what the galaxy is like now. The Velkari Empire controls most of the major trade routes. They have thousands of warships. They don't like it when someone has technology they don't understand. Then we will teach them to mind their own business, Hana said simply. Day One wanted to argue, but another message came through. This one was marked urgent. It was from Ji Woo again, and the text made his blood run cold. Get out of there now, it said. I just intercepted Velkari military communications. They're sending ships to your location. They want the fighter, and they don't care if they have to take it by force. You have maybe an hour before they arrive. Day One looked at Hana. We need to run. No, Hana said. We need to prepare. If the Velkari want to fight, we will give them one they will never forget. Are you crazy? We barely survived 30 pirate ships. The Velkari will send military vessels with trained crews and real weapons. Hana stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars. Day One. In the last hour, you flew a ship you did not understand and fought enemies you had never faced before. You were magnificent. Do not doubt yourself now. I'm not a warrior. Day One said quietly. I'm just an engineer. I'm just an engineer. Hana turned to face him, her reptilian eyes meeting his. You are whatever you choose to be. My people chose to be warriors, and we lost everything. Perhaps you humans will choose something different, something better, but choose quickly. Day One thought about the colony they had just saved. He thought about the families who would have died if they had not helped. He thought about all the times other species had dismissed humans as weak and worthless. All right, he said, but we're not fighting them. We're going to disappear, find allies, and figure out what's really going on. Because Ji Woo mentioned something else in his messages. He said there have been reports of strange ships in the outer rim. Ships using technology that sounds like your void swarm. Hana's expression went very still. The void swarm is here? Maybe. Ji Woo is still gathering information. Then we have no time to waste, Hana said. If the void swarm has returned, then I have failed my people twice. Once 4,000 years ago, and again now. I will not fail a third time. She walked back to the fighter and climbed inside. Day One followed, his mind racing. Somehow, in one day, his quiet life had become an adventure. He was partnered with the last member of an extinct warrior race, flying a ship that could destroy fleets, and possibly facing an ancient enemy that had already destroyed entire civilizations. He should have been terrified. Instead, as the ship's systems came alive under his hands, as Hana began plotting their course to somewhere safe, Day One felt something he had not felt in years. He felt alive. 3 months had passed since Day One and Hana fled from his workshop. In that time, they had become legends without meaning to. Every mission they took, every ship they rescued, every pirate crew they disabled, it all got broadcast across the sector networks. People recorded their battles and shared them. Soon, everyone knew about the mysterious Draken warrior and her human partner. They had set up a temporary base on a small moon in an unclaimed system. It was not much, just a cave that Day One had converted into a workshop and living space. But it was hidden and safe, at least for now. They were not alone anymore either. Others had found them, people who wanted to help or who believed in what they were doing. Taeyong had been the first. He was a former military pilot from Earth, older than Day One by 10 years, with scars on his face and a cynical smile. He had shown up one day in a beat-up fighter, offering his services. I heard you're making the Velkari nervous, he had said. Anyone who does that is a friend of mine. Taeyong now acted as their tactical advisor, helping plan their missions and teaching Day One proper combat techniques. He and Hana argued constantly about strategy, but they respected each other. Then there was Bora, a young engineer who had tracked them down through the network. She was barely 20 years old, brilliant with technology, and she idolized Day One. She helped maintain the fighter and their other equipment, constantly asking Hana questions about Draken technology. The last member of their small group was Kelrix, a Velkari who had defected from the Empire. He was a scientist who disagreed with his government's policies. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and large eyes, and he spoke in a formal, precise way. He had information about ancient weapons and old wars that proved useful. The Velkari Empire is becoming more aggressive, Kelrix said one evening as they all gathered around a simple meal. They see your ship as a threat to their power. They have been searching for you constantly. Let them search, Hana said, eating the spicy noodles that had become her favorite human food. We will not hide forever. We should be strategic, Taeyong argued. Pick our battles carefully. We can't fight the entire empire. Why not? Hana asked. One Draken warrior is worth 1,000 ordinary soldiers. You're not invincible, Taeyong shot back. No one is. Day One listened to them argue while working on a datapad. Ji-woo had sent more information about the strange ships in the Outer Rim. The reports were getting more frequent and more disturbing. Entière colonies going silent, ships disappearing without distress signals, and the few survivors who escaped described vessels that matched Hana's descriptions of the Void Swarm. We need to investigate these reports, Day One said, interrupting the argument. If the Void Swarm really has returned, then we're wasting time fighting pirates and running from the Velkari. Hana's expression darkened. I agree. But first, we need to deal with a more immediate problem. She pulled up a holographic display showing their current location. There were 12 red dots approaching from different directions, converging on their position. Velkari warships, Kelrix identified. A full battle group. They must have finally tracked you here. How? Bora asked, worried. We've been so careful. They probably got lucky, Taeyong said grimly. Or they've been setting up scanning networks. Either way, we've got maybe an hour before they arrive. Then we leave, Daewon said. No. Hana, there are 12 warships out there. This is different from pirates. I know. That is why we will win. Hana stood up, her tail swishing with determination. The Velkari need to learn that they cannot just take what they want. We will teach them. Moston, Daewon looked at the others. Taeyong shrugged. I'm in. Been wanting to bloody the Empire's nose for years. Bora nodded nervously. Even Kelrix agreed, though he looked uncomfortable about fighting his own people. They had an hour to prepare. Daewon and Hana flew the fighter out to meet the approaching fleet, while the others evacuated the base in their own ships. Just in case things went wrong, the Velkari battle group arrived right on schedule. 12 massive warships, each one the size of a city block, bristling with weapons. They formed a standard military formation, with the command ship in the center and the others providing overlapping fire support. A communication channel opened, and a Velkari officer appeared on their display. She was middle-aged by Velkari standards, with sharp features and cold eyes. I am Commander Velrith of the Velkari Imperial Navy, she said. You are in possession of stolen technology. Surrender immediately, and you will not be harmed. Resist, and we will take the ship by force. This ship belongs to the Draken, Hana replied. It was not stolen. It was earned through blood and sacrifice. You have no claim to it. The Draken are extinct, Velrith said. That makes it salvage. And salvage belongs to whoever claims it. I am not extinct, Hana said quietly, dangerously. And you are about to learn why my people were feared. Velrith's expression did not change. So be it. All ships, open fire. The space around them erupted with weapons fire. Energy beams, missiles, and projectiles All converged on their position. It was more firepower than Day One had ever seen, enough to vaporize a small moon. But Hana was ready. The fighters' shields flared, absorbing the impact. Then she did something Day One had never seen before. The ship seemed to fold space around itself, and suddenly, they were somewhere else entirely, appearing behind the Valkyrie formation. What was that? Day One gasped. A trick I learned in the old wars, Hana said. The ship can create temporary holes in space. She immediately opened fire on the rear of the Valkyrie formation, targeting engines and weapon systems. 2 ships lost power before they could even turn around. The remaining ships scrambled to reposition, trying to bring their weapons to bear. They're trying to surround us, Day One warned, watching the tactical display. Then, we do not stay still, Hana said. Fly. Show me what you have learned. Day One took control of the ship's movement, while Hana focused on weapons. For the next 20 minutes, they danced through the Valkyrie fleet like a predator among prey. Every time the enemy thought they had a firing solution, Day One would twist away, or Hana would use the space-folding ability to reposition them. But the Valkyrie were not pirates. They were trained military crews, with discipline and coordination. They began predicting the fighters' movements, setting up overlapping fields of fire that became harder to avoid. One blast got through their shields, scorching the hull and making alarms blare. We cannot keep this up forever, Day One said, his hands tight on the controls. We do not need forever, Hana replied. We just need to make them respect us. Target the command ship's bridge. Non-lethal strike. Day One understood. They flew straight at the command ship, dodging through its defensive fire. At the last moment, Hana unleashed a precise blast that hit the bridge tower, overloading their systems without destroying it. The command ship went dark, drifting helplessly. Without their commander coordinating them, the other Valkyrie ships hesitated. That hesitation was all Hana needed. She disabled 3 more ships in quick succession. Then Tae-young's voice came over their communication system. Hey, you two want some help? I've been watching from a distance, and I'm feeling left out. Stay back, Day One ordered. Who said anything about fighting? Tae-young replied. I'm just going to deliver a message. Suddenly, Tae-young's fighter appeared on every Valkyrie ship's communication screen. He had hacked into their network. Hello, Valkyrie Imperial Navy, he said cheerfully. This is just a friendly human saying hi. You've probably noticed that you're losing this fight, badly. Now, you could keep trying to capture that fancy ship, or you could retreat and tell your superiors that maybe, just maybe, humans aren't as weak as you thought. Your choice. There was a long silence. Then, slowly, the Valkyrie ships began jumping away. One by one, they disappeared, until only the disabled vessels remained, waiting for rescue. Back at the base, the group celebrated their victory. Even Kelrix seemed pleased, though he worried about the political consequences. The Empire will not forget this, he said. They will come after you with even more force. Next time. Let them, Hana said. She looked exhausted but satisfied. They needed to learn this lesson. Later that night, after the others had gone to sleep, Daewon found Hana sitting outside the cave, looking up at the stars. He sat down next to her. You okay? He asked. Hana was quiet for a long time. Then she spoke softly. I was thinking about my people, about how we fought for thousands of years, always winning, always strong, and then one day, we were just gone, erased like we never existed. You're still here, Daewon said. I am one person. One person cannot be a civilization. She turned to look at him, and he saw tears on her scaled cheeks. I failed them. Daewon. I was supposed to protect my people, and I failed. I went into stasis thinking I would wake up to victory, but instead, I woke up to extinction. Daewon did not know what to say. How do you comfort someone who lost their entire species? He did the only thing he could think of. He reached out and took her hand. "You didn't fail," he said. "You fought until you couldn't fight anymore. That's not failure. That's courage. And your people, wherever they are, would be proud of you." Hana squeezed his hand, her scales warm against his skin. "Thank you. For everything. For waking me. For fighting beside me. For making me feel less alone." They sat there in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Daewon realized that somewhere along the way, Hana had stopped being just his partner. She had become his friend. Maybe even more than that. Though he was not ready to examine those feelings too closely. "We should investigate those Outer Rim reports soon," Hana said eventually. "If the Void Swarm really has returned, we need to know." Agreed. "But first, let's get some rest. We both need it." As they walked back into the cave together, Daewon felt something shift between them. The bond they shared through the ship was one thing. But this was different. This was genuine connection. The kind that forms between people who have fought together and trust each other completely. Neither of them knew it yet. But their relationship was about to become much more complicated. Because the galaxy was watching them now. And everyone had an opinion about the last Draken warrior and her human partner. And in the darkness of the Outer Rim, ancient enemies were stirring, preparing for a war that would test everything they had built together. The Galactic Council Station was enormous, a massive structure floating in neutral space where hundreds of alien species came to negotiate and trade. Daewon had never been to a place like this before. Everywhere he looked, there were beings of different shapes and sizes, speaking different languages, all going about their business. He felt very small and very human. Hana walked beside him, wearing formal armor she had found stored in the fighter. It made her look even more impressive, the scales gleaming in the station's artificial light. People stared at them as they passed. Some with curiosity, others with suspicion, and a few with outright hostility. They were here because of the Outer Rim reports. Ji-woo had confirmed that entire colonies were going dark, consumed by something that left nothing behind. The descriptions matched the Void Swarm too closely to ignore. Daewon and Hana had decided to bring their evidence to the Galactic Council and ask for help. It was not going well. The council chamber was a huge circular room with seats arranged in tiers, each section belonging to a different species. The Velkari had a large section, as did the Threx warriors and the Moth Collective. Humans had a small section in the back, barely noticed by anyone. Daewon stood in the center of the chamber, feeling hundreds of eyes on him. Hana stood beside him, her tail swishing with barely contained anger. "We have presented evidence," Daewon said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Multiple colonies destroyed, ships disappearing, survivors describing vessels that match historical records of the Void Swarm. This is a threat to the entire galaxy." A Velkari representative, Ambassador Zelkoth, laughed. It was not a kind sound. "Evidence? You show us scattered reports and old legends. The Void Swarm is a myth, a story the extinct Draken told to make themselves seem more important." "I am Draken," Hana said coldly. "And I am not extinct. I fought the Void Swarm. I watched them consume worlds. They are very real." "One survivor does not make a species," another council member said, a floating creature from the Moth Collective. "And even if this threat is real, why should we listen to humans? They have been in space for barely 2 centuries. They know nothing of galactic affairs." Daewon felt his face flush with anger, but before he could respond, Hana stepped forward. "You mock humans because they are young," she said, her voice carrying through the chamber. "But in the short time they have been among the stars, they have shown more courage and compassion than many elder races. My partner Daewon has saved colonies, protected the weak, and fought against injustice." "What have you done? You sit in your comfortable seats and judge others while the galaxy burns." The chamber erupted in noise. Some species shouted in agreement, others in outrage. Ambassador Zelkoth stood up. His face twisted in anger. "How dare you speak to us this way?" he said. "You are nothing. A relic from a dead civilization. And your human pet is even less." Hana's eyes blazed. "Then let me prove my worth in the old way. I challenge this council to a trial by combat. If I win, you must acknowledge the threat and prepare defenses. If I lose, we will leave and never return." The chamber went silent. A trial by combat was an ancient tradition, rarely used anymore. But it was still recognized by galactic law. The council could not refuse without looking weak. "Very well," said the council's leader. "A massive creature called a Threx. We accept your challenge. You will face our champion, Korvan, in the arena tomorrow. Be prepared." That night, back in their ship, Tae-young tried to talk Hana out of it. "Do you know who Korvan is?" he said. "He's undefeated in over 50 fights. He's 8 feet tall, has 4 arms, and his skin is so tough that blades bounce off it. You're good, Hana, but this is suicide." "I will win," Hana said simply. "How can you be so sure?" "Because I have to. Because if I do not, then no one will take the Void Swarm threat seriously, and billions will die." She looked at Daewon. "Do you believe in me?" Daewon met her eyes. "Always." The next day, the entire station gathered at the arena. It was a massive circular space, surrounded by viewing platforms where thousands of spectators could watch. The fight was being broadcast across the galaxy. Everyone wanted to see if the legendary Draken warrior was as good as the stories said. Korvan entered first, and the crowd roared. He was everything Tae-young had described, and more. His 4 arms ended in claws that could tear through steel. His skin was dark and ridged like armor. He carried no weapons because he did not need them. Hana entered wearing only light armor and carrying no weapons either. She looked tiny compared to Korvan. The crowd laughed and made bets on how quickly she would lose. The fight began. Korvan charged immediately, all 4 arms reaching to grab and crush. But Hana was not there. She moved with speed that seemed impossible, ducking under his grasp and striking at his knee. Her fist connected, and Korvan stumbled. The crowd gasped. Nothing hurt Korvan, but Hana's scales had hardened at the moment of impact, turning her arm into something as strong as metal. She hit him again, and again, each strike perfectly placed to cause maximum damage. Korvan roared and swung with all 4 arms, but he could not catch her. The fight lasted 20 minutes. It was brutal and beautiful. Hana used techniques that had been old when human civilization was young, combat styles designed by warriors who had fought for thousands of years. She turned Korvan's strength against him, using his momentum to throw him, dodging his attacks, and countering with precision strikes. In the end, Korvan was on his knees, breathing hard, unable to continue. Then Korvan did something unexpected. He bowed his head. "You are a true warrior," he said in his deep voice. "I yield." The crowd erupted in cheers. Even those who had bet against Hana could not help but be impressed. It was one of the greatest fights in arena history. Back in the council chamber, the mood was very different. The council had to acknowledge Hana's victory, but they were not happy about it. "You have proven your skill," the Threx leader said grudgingly. "We will authorize defensive preparations, but we cannot commit our fleets without more evidence." It was not enough, but it was something. As they left the station, messages began pouring in. Smaller species who had been oppressed by the elder races sent messages of support. Human colonies across the galaxy celebrated. Even some Velkari officers sent private messages expressing respect. But Daewon could not enjoy the victory. Jiwoo had sent another urgent message. The Void Swarm had attacked a major colony on the edge of Council space. Thousands were dead. The footage was horrific. That night, as they prepared to investigate the attack site, Daewon found Hana on the ship's observation deck. She was staring out at the stars, her expression troubled. "You were amazing today," he said. "It was not enough. People still died. More will die before the Council takes this seriously. We'll stop them." Together, Hana turned to look at him, and there was something in her eyes that made his heart beat faster. In Draken culture, warriors who fight together, who trust each other completely, they form a bond. A soul bond. It is sacred. Like the bond with the ship? No. Deeper than that. More personal. She took a breath. "I have fought beside many warriors in my life, but I have never felt this kind of connection before. You are not Draken. You are human. You should be weak and soft, but you are neither. You have courage that rivals any warrior I have known, and you have something else. Something my people lost. You have compassion. You care about others, even enemies." Daewon stepped closer to her. "Hana, what are you saying?" "I am saying that you are mine, Daewon. My partner. My equal. My soulmate. If you will have me. I know our species are different. I know we should not feel this way. But I do. I cannot help it." Daewon reached up and touched her face, his fingers tracing the scales on her cheek. They were warm and smooth. "I feel it too. I have for weeks now, but I did not know how to say it. You're the most amazing person I have ever met, Hana. Draken. Human. It does not matter. I care about you. More than I thought possible. Even though I have scales and a tail, even though I am not like the females of your species, because of those things, not despite them. You're beautiful, Hana. Inside and out." She closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. Then she opened them again, and they were shining. "My people had a saying. We do not choose our soulmates. They choose us through shared battles and shared purpose. You chose me when you repaired my ship. I chose you when I agreed to fight beside you. Now we choose each other." Daewon pulled her close, and they kissed. Her scales were warm against his skin, her tail wrapping around his waist. It felt right, in a way that nothing else ever had. When they pulled apart, Hana was smiling. It was the first real smile he had seen from her, and it transformed her face. "So what now?" Daewon asked. "Now we prepare for war," Hana said. "The Void Swarm is coming, and we need to be ready. But at least we will face it together. Together." Daewon agreed. They stood there, holding each other, watching the stars. Neither knew what the future would bring. The Void Swarm was out there, growing stronger. The Galactic Council was still hesitant to act, and there were other forces moving in the shadows, interested in the power of the ancient Draken fighter. But in that moment, none of it mattered. They had each other, and that was enough. The next morning, Earth's government made an announcement that shocked the galaxy. They were committing their entire fleet to defend against the Void Swarm threat. It was not much, just a few hundred ships that were outdated by galactic standards, but it was everything humanity had, and they were putting Daewon in command. The message reached them while they were flying toward the attack site. Daewon stared at the official communication, in disbelief. "They want me to lead the human fleet?" he said. "I am just a salvage engineer. I have only been flying combat missions for a few months." "You are more than that," Hana said. "You are the human who fights beside the last Draken. You are a symbol of what humanity can be. Of course they chose you. I do not know how to command a fleet. Then you will learn, just like you learned to fly my ship, just like you learned to fight." Daewon looked at the message again, then at Hana. He thought about the colony they had saved months ago. He thought about all the people counting on them. "All right," he said. "Let's give them a fight they will never forget." The human fleet gathered at the edge of the system, 300 ships of various sizes and ages. Some were military vessels from Earth's defense force. Others were converted cargo ships with weapons bolted on. A few were private vessels whose owners volunteered to fight. It was not impressive compared to the massive fleets of the elder races, but it was everything humanity could spare. Day One stood on the bridge of the flagship, an old cruiser called the Horizon. It had been built 40 years ago and upgraded many times since. Tae-young was there, as his tactical officer. Bora managed communications. Even Kelrix had joined them, providing analysis of the enemy. And Hana stood beside him, her presence a comfort and a strength. They look scared, Tae-young observed, watching the other ships on the display. They should be, Kelrix said quietly. The Void Swarm destroyed the Draken, the greatest warriors the galaxy has ever known. What chance do humans have? We have something the Draken did not, Day One said. Everyone looked at him. We have each other. Every species in this fleet. Every person who chose to stand and fight. That is our strength. A communication came through from one of the smaller ships. It was a young woman, maybe 20 years old, commanding a converted mining vessel. Commander Day One, my crew is asking if we really have a chance. What should I tell them? Day One thought for a moment. Tell them that the galaxy has always underestimated humanity. They think we are weak because we are young, but we are strong because we refuse to give up. Tell them that today, we show everyone what humans can do. The young woman smiled. Yes, sir. We will make you proud. More messages came in. Similar questions, similar fears. Day One answered each one, trying to give courage where he could. Hana watched him with pride in her eyes. You are a natural leader, she said softly. I am terrified, he admitted. Good, so am I. The scanners suddenly lit up. Kelrix's hands moved quickly over the controls. They are here. The Void Swarm's main fleet. Counting over 1,000 ships, the display showed them emerging from dark space. Massive organic vessels that looked like they were grown rather than built. They pulsed with dark energy. And even through the screens, they seemed wrong somehow, like they did not belong in this reality. All ships, battle positions, Day One ordered. Stay in formation. Watch your spacing. We are going to make every shot count. The Void Swarm attacked in waves. Their ships moved with coordinated precision, targeting the weakest vessels first. Within minutes, 3 human ships were destroyed, their crews lost. The fleet held formation, but Day One could feel the fear spreading. We need to do something, Tae-young said urgently. They are picking us apart. Day One looked at Hana. Can your ship scan their fleet? Find their command structure? Hana closed her eyes, connecting with the fighter through their bond. Yes, there is a central ship, larger than the others. It coordinates the swarm. If we destroy it, the others will become disorganized. How far into their fleet? Deep. Very deep. You would have to fly through all of them. Day One made a decision. Then, that is what we will do. Tae-young, you have command. Keep the fleet fighting. We are going to cut off the head. You will not come back, Kelrix said. Maybe, maybe not. But if we do nothing, we all die anyway. Bora came over and hugged him. Be careful, please. Day One nodded. Then he and Hana ran to the fighter bay, where their ship waited. They climbed in, and the familiar systems came alive under their touch. Ready? Day One asked. Always, Hana replied. They launched from the horizon and immediately dove into the swarm fleet. Energy blasts filled the space around them, so dense it looked like rain. But Day One flew like he never had before. The ship responding to his thoughts as if it was part of him. Hana's hands danced over the weapons controls, taking out smaller ships that got too close. Other human pilots saw what they were doing and formed up to escort them. A dozen fighters fell in around them, creating a protective formation. Dae-young heard voices over the communication channel. We are with you, Commander. For humanity. Let us show them what we can do. One by one, the escort fighters fell. They sacrificed themselves to keep the path clear. Taking hits meant for the Draken ship. Tae-young's voice came over the channel one last time. Do not name any kids after me, Dae-won. Tae-young Jr. sounds terrible. Then his fighter exploded, taking down a massive swarm cruiser. Dae-won felt tears on his face, but he kept flying. They were close now. He could see the command ship ahead, a massive thing that looked like a brain with tentacles, pulsing with dark light. That is it, Hana said. But I cannot destroy it with weapons. It will regenerate too quickly. Then what do we do? Hana looked at him. The void swarm consumes matter and energy. It was designed to destroy. But what if we give it something it cannot destroy? Something it cannot understand? 1. What do you mean? Connect the ship's systems to that thing. Flood it with information. With human culture, history, art, emotion. Everything that makes humans who they are. The swarm was never designed to handle that kind of complexity. Dae-won understood. It was crazy. It was brilliant. It might work. They flew straight at the command ship, dodging its defensive weapons. At the last moment, Dae-won did not fire weapons. Instead, he opened a data connection, linking their ship directly to the swarm's central mind, and then he poured everything into it. Music from every human culture, books and poetry, art and mathematics, history and philosophy, love letters and children's drawings. The entire messy, beautiful, complicated nature of humanity, all at once. The command ship began to shake. Its pulsing light flickered. The organic structure started to tear itself apart, unable to process the flood of information. It was not programmed to understand beauty or joy or sadness. It only knew consumption and destruction, and that was its weakness. The command ship exploded in a wave of dark energy. The shockwave hit their fighter, and alarms screamed. The shields were failing. The hull was breaching. They were dying. There, and header. There some things, and down. But the swarm fleet was also dying. Without the command ship, the other vessels began crashing into each other, their coordination lost. The human fleet pressed forward, destroying the confused swarm ships. We need to get out of here, Hana said, but her voice was weak. The explosion had damaged the fighters' systems badly. Dae-won tried to engage the jump drive, but it would not respond. They were drifting, shields down, surrounded by debris and enemy ships. Then Tae-young's old ship appeared, badly damaged but still flying. Other human vessels formed up around them, creating a protective barrier. They towed the fighter back to the horizon, while fighting off the remaining swarm ships. On the bridge, Bora was crying with relief when she saw them carried in. Kelrix was smiling, something Dae-won had never seen before. You did it, Bora said. The swarm is retreating. We won. Dae-won collapsed into a chair, exhausted. Hana sat beside him, her scales dull from the effort. But they were alive. Somehow, impossibly, they were alive. The battle was not completely over. But the swarm was broken. Over the next hours, the human fleet hunted down the remaining ships. Other species who had watched the battle arrived to help, impressed by humanity's courage. Even the Velkari sent ships, though they arrived late. 3 months later, Dae-won stood in the council chamber again. But this time, it was different. The humans had a larger section now, positioned with the other major powers. Earth had earned a permanent seat on the council. The leader of the Threx approached him after the session. Your people fought well. You have proven that courage is not limited to elder races. We were wrong about humanity. 2 people. Rita Sen. Thank you, Dae-won said. That means a lot. Hana had left the chamber early. She did not like politics much. Dae-won found her outside, looking at the stars through a massive viewport. Are you all right? He asked. She turned to him, and he saw tears on her face. I thought I was alone, the last of my people. But today, Kelrix found something on one of the old databases. There is a planet in uncharted space where my people hid survivors. Stasis pods. Dozens of them. Day one felt his heart jump. Hana, that is incredible. I want to go there. I want to see if they are still alive. If my people can come back. She looked at him with hope and fear. Will you come with me? Always, he said, taking her hand. They traveled to the coordinates Kelrix had found, flying through uncharted space for weeks. The planet was small and hidden, protected by ancient Draken technology that had kept it safe for thousands of years. And there, in an underground facility that had been waiting all this time, they found the stasis pods. Dozens of them, each containing a Draken warrior. The pods were still active, their occupants sleeping peacefully. Hana fell to her knees, crying. They are alive. My people are alive. Over the next weeks, they carefully woke the sleepers. Each one was confused, disoriented, having to learn that thousands of years had passed. But they were alive. One of them, a warrior named Ryung, approached Day One with suspicion. You are human. What are you doing here with Hana? Before Day One could answer, Hana stepped between them. He is my mate. My soul bond. He saved me. He fought beside me. He helped save our people. You will treat him with respect. My nuff. My nuff. Ryung looked at Day One with new eyes. Then, slowly, he bowed. If Hana has chosen you, then you are one of us. Welcome, human. The other Draken followed his lead, accepting Day One. It was strange, and wonderful, and overwhelming. That night, Day One and Hana stood on a cliff overlooking the Draken settlement. The survivors were building new homes, starting their civilization over. It would take time, but they had hope now. Thank you, Hana said softly. For what? For everything. For waking me. For fighting with me. For loving me even though I am different. She leaned against him. I thought I had lost everything. But I found something better. I found you. Daewon put his arm around her, feeling her warmth, her scales smooth under his touch. I thought I was just a salvage worker with no future. But then I found an abandoned fighter, and inside was the most amazing person I have ever met. They stood there together as the sun set over the Draken world. The fighter was parked nearby, its scales gleaming in the fading light. It had brought them together, this ancient ship that had waited thousands of years for the right pilot. What do we do now? Hana asked. Whatever we want, Daewon said. The galaxy is still dangerous. There will be more threats, more battles. But we will face them together. Together, Hana agreed. She smiled, that beautiful smile that lit up her face. The last Draken warrior and her human mate. The galaxy will never know what hit them. Daewon laughed. Let us give them something to talk about. They walked back to the settlement hand in hand, or rather, hand in claw. Behind them, the fighter seemed to hum with satisfaction, its systems content. It had found its purpose again, after so long. Not just as a weapon, but as the bridge between two species, two warriors, two souls who had found each other across the vast emptiness of space. And somewhere in the stars, humanity looked up at the sky and dreamed of what else was possible. Because if a simple salvage worker could become a hero, if a human and a dragon could fall in love, if an extinct species could come back from the edge of oblivion, then anything was possible. The future was bright, full of hope and danger in equal measure. But Daewon and Hana would face it together, as they had faced everything else, with courage, with love, and with the knowledge that the universe was full of amazing things, if you were brave enough to reach for them, and the abandoned fighter that had brought them together. It flew on through the stars, carrying its pilots toward new adventures, new dangers, and new wonders. Because the story was far from over. It was just beginning.